Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to initiate your debugging session with Xdebug and PhpStorm. In the first video I showed you how to install Xdebug and configure it to work with PhpStorm. And so if you haven't set up Xdebug, then you should really go back to the first video and do that first so you can follow along. Today there's three basic methods that you use to initiate the debug session, and we'll go through all three of them very quickly. The first way is you need to first tell PhpStorm to start listening for incoming connections. And there's two ways to do that. You can either click this guy right here. It's an icon of a phone with a bug by the mouthpiece. Or you can go to the Run menu and tell it to start listening for PHP debug connections. The next thing you need to do is open your browser to the page on which you plan to run your code, and simply click the Start Debugger bookmark that we created in the first video. And that's all there is to it. It's actually ready to run now. So we need to go back to PhpStorm. Let's set our first breakpoint. And so when we run our page, this is where the code is going to pause first. So let's refresh. And the code is now paused. And our variables pane starts to populate with variables. Method number two, it takes just another 30 seconds of configuration, but what you'll be doing is taking out some of the steps of having to open your browser and type the address in and go through all that kind of stuff, and PhpStorm will actually do it for you. So come up to the Run menu and select Edit Configurations, and create a new configuration by clicking the plus symbol. Select PHP Web Application. Give your configuration a name. And you should give it a name that you'll recognize in case you create a lot of configurations. Select the currently running server. So this can be either a remote server, a local server, a virtual machine, a MAMP, WAMP, or whatever other type of PHP application that you might have running. Next, we enter our URL, and this URL will be relative to the domain name. So I named my server after the domain name, just so it's easy to recognize. So basically what would happen is if I put nothing here, it'll run the home page. I can also just simply type in index.php since that's the same exact thing. That's the script I'm running, and you'll notice as I typed, this URL is starting to change because it's telling us where Xdebug is going to, or where PhpStorm is going to run the debug session. The last thing you choose is the browser. So I normally leave it at the default unless for some reason I need to run it in a different browser. Click Apply to save your settings. Click OK to exit out, and you'll notice that this menu up here just populated with your new configuration. Select it, click this button here that says Debug, or you can just come to Run, Debug. They both perform the exact same function. And when we select this, the browser is going to automatically open. You don't have to click any bookmarks or anything like that. That all gets done for you. And the code will pause as normal at our breakpoint. Oh, think I didn't click the proper thing. Let's go back. Run, debug. There we go. So there's one extra click involved. So as you see, the browser very quickly opened and it paused at our breakpoint. Method number three doesn't involve a browser at all. So let's click stop and let's just stop the execution of the code. Let's close the browser completely. We don't need it. And the reason that I like this method is I work on a lot of resource heavy sites, and sometimes I'm just trying to determine what kind of data different functions are returning, and I don't want to wait for the pages to load. And especially when you're working on something like a virtual machine or a MAMP or a WAMP, websites that are resource heavy tend to load a little bit slow. So you shouldn't wait for all of that rendering to take place, it's better to just simply run your code and see what it returns. And running it without a browser would be a lot faster. So let's create one more configuration. Come to Run, Edit Configurations, and now we're going to create a PHP script configuration. So again, give it a name. And all you got to do is select the file. And again, I'm going to select index.php because this is a very simple demo and that's all I'm running is index.php. Click Apply to save your settings. Click OK to exit out. And now when we click the debug button, before we do that, make sure that the proper configuration is selected up here in the menu. When we click the debug button, no browsers involved at all. Everything is going to run strictly within PhpStorm. And when I click this, I'm running on a virtual machine, which is also treated as a remote server. And so when I click this, it's going to basically connect via SSH to my virtual machine and then run the script as normal. And there we go. So everything executed the same, super fast, no browsers opening, and for me, this is my personal favorite. So in the next video, I will get into all of the different things you can do with Xdebug, and videos after that will show you even more. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks so much for watching.